How good is it to have the single greatest game back for the second week? We're excited. If you're not excited, you won't be joining us and listening to Lace Out, the single greatest AFL podcast this side of the Westgate Bridge. But I'm Peps, the 377 game legend of the East Keeler Football Club. But I'm Lace, and my co-host with the most, the J-Dog, Jamie Wallace. He's the out. Lot to talk about. A second weekend, but a massive weekend. But before we get into that, Jamie, how you going, big fella?
I'm well, Peps. I'm loving the fact that footy's back. I'm loving the Saturday and the Sundays on the couch. I'm loving Friday night. I'm loving Thursday nights. I'm just loving footy again. It's just great to be where we should be all the time, Peps, all year round, 365 on Facebook doing live videos.
I know, and we should be not just doing for the people watching us at home, but people listening to the podcast. Can I just say, for everybody who's been listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Cast, Google Podcast, Al Jazeera Podcast, wherever you're listening to us from, thank you very much, because our numbers have been the highest in 4 years. So it just goes to show your hunger for football is there, your thirst for good conversation is there. And with Lace Out, we bring neither of those to the airwaves. But you're still tuning into us, but we say thank you very, very much. Without you, we're not going to do this. But yes, my friend, there is so much going on when it comes to the football at the moment. Where do you want to start? Because it's out of control, just the amount of good. Actually, you know what? I'll start it off with this one.
Okay, because hang on first, Peps. Just make sure, according to the rules of lost the name as I was about to speak it.
Engagement?
No. Lost. Do you know what? Are our hearts open and are our minds open, Peps?
Oh, yes. Our hearts are open and our minds are open. Do you know who also was open on the weekend?
Who was open, Peps?
Nat Fyfe. Let's talk about some of the news of the week. Nat Fyfe was open. And Nat Fyfe got put into next week by Sam Reid.
Yes.
How does he only get 2 weeks for that when Danger got 3?
It's because the bump's dead, Peps?
No, it's got... Apparently, there's different stages of concussion. There's light concussion, heavy concussion, and coma. And apparently, because he wasn't in coma status, it was only worth 2 weeks. I swear, the match review guys, they've got no idea, have they?
Peps,
how can you judge that as 2 weeks?
You know this. It's always based on the outcome of what's happened to the player. We know that. You know that. I know that. Our listeners know that.
It's not. Okay. We saw on Friday night, Gary Rowan finally got a touch in a big game, Friday night game. It wasn't the football. It was the side of Lucky Neal's head.
On the field. Yeah. Got a touch on the field.
Touch on the field and not in the hub. Yet he gets 2 weeks for what he did.
Yeah.
And Reid gets 2 weeks for him, for what he did.
Yeah.
You cannot put both of those side by side and tell me that they are worth exactly the same penalty.
So Reid should have got 3 based on danger?
Probably about 4.
Okay.
4 plus.
I'm not going to disagree with you, Peps. I think, as you said, the consistency is really off, and it has been off for such a long time that I'm almost exhausted talking about it, because there's never a like for like. We've had point systems, we've had tables and spreadsheets and charts and carryover points. Nothing ever seems to get this system right, and I don't know what the answer is.
Oh, I know what the answer is. Just send him straight to the tribunal. How that did not go to the tribunal is beyond. He wasn't even looking at the ball. It was off the ball. Smacks him virtually straight down the middle. Fyfe is in la-la land and gets 2 weeks. Fyfe's not going to be playing this week. Maybe the week after that, depending on how substantial this concussion is.
Well,
it's crap. I'm sorry. It's crap.
I don't have an answer. Is it because Sam Reid hasn't played for 2 seasons? They've just given him like he's a new driver again on his L's?
It's just pathetic, mate. It's just pathetic. And just when the AFL, they bring out this massive thing for the concussion sub, and that happens. Like, come on. Really?
That's not a concussion sub, Peps. We know that.
They should have just left it a concussion sub. This whole injury sub is a joke.
Peps, I'm not against you. I'm not against you, Peps.
Don't be against me. Don't be against me. Hey, can we add something else to this? Let's just take this one step further.
Let's just wreck our run sheet.
Let's stuff the run sheet. When I'm on fire, you know what? When I get into my shizzle, you need to listen. How does Danger play a practice match? Now, apparently, it was an unofficial practice match. But how does a guy who's suspended get to play in a practice match? Suspended is suspended. What would have happened if he'd cleaned somebody up in that game?
He would get 4 weeks for practice matches. He can't play the next 4 practice matches.
The AFL would probably do that. The AFL would probably go, hey, you know what? Let's just give him 6 practice matches and 3 Ansett Cup games and a Wizard Cup final.
He's not playing.
And he's ready for round 1.
He's not playing a practice match until 2027.
It's just the.
I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you brought it up.
The sniff again, mate.
I'm glad you brought it up. Woeful. AFL player. He's been suspended. He can't go and represent the VFL team or the so-called VFL team. You're suspended. You're out. It's as simple as that.
What do you think? What do you think, listeners? Let us know what you think. Should Danger have been able to play in that game? I'm saying no. J-Dog is saying no. But apparently the powers that be say yes. Oh, it didn't hurt anybody. Because he didn't hurt anybody.
Was it signed off, or is it one of those things where you just
just played it?
It's easier to ask for permission than
easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. It happened with Zach Williams the other week when he got rubbed out. He was able to play in a Carlton practice match, and they've let this one slide. It's just, it's horses for courses again. The AFL, it's Danger. We'll let him play. I'm freaking sick of it, Jamie. Just the sickness I have for the AFL and their weak stance on so many things.
Well, you've broken your microphone.
Another example. Oh, I'm getting frustrated.
Well, so Peps, what is the solution here? Because we are solution type people. Okay. Is the solution to close that loop? Is that basically what it is?
You just can't play. You are out. Stiff. Okay. You're out. You cannot. No practice matches. You can train. That's it.
Because if you get suspended in a practice match at the start of the season, you can't play the AFL.
You can't play the AFL. Exactly right. So it should be the same way. Exactly the same way. My goodness, you're a smart guy.
It's 2 weeks in a row, Peps.
I know. Don't peak too hard. Don't peak too much. All righty. Quick one for you, my friend. Not a quick hands, but a quick one for you.
Sure.
The Dogs versus the Eagles game. I know it's only 2 rounds in. We're only 18 games into this season, but was that the best game of the year?
No, I'm not going to go that early. I can't go that early.
Yeah, well, no, all right. Was it the best game that you've watched so far this year?
Probably yes.
Wasn't it just good to see football back?
The
scores are high. It was back and forth. Oh, champagne showers. Yes, I absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Bontempelli.
Oh, Bontempelli. How good was he? But what about Will? You know what about Bailey Williams taking on 3?
Yep.
Dishes it off to Smitty. The number 6 in the mullet. My goodness, I'm just flashbacking right now, and I see him just deliver it down to the Bont. The Bont goes back, slots at the doggies win. Woof woof woof. It was just awesome to see. It was just a high quality, flowing game. Apparently, Nick Nat turned it on.
Yep.
With 2 marks.
Mm-hmm. As always.
He doesn't do anything, does he? He just taps.
Someone asked me the other day, I was just watching, they're not a big football watch, and they said, is Nick Nat the big superstar of the game? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. He does things that are amazing, but I wouldn't class him as a superstar of the game. I was like, that's actually a really good question, because I actually don't rate him as a superstar of AFL.
Yeah. No, I do. I think
you rate him?
Who, Nick Nat?
Yeah.
Oh, I like Nick Nackapatty Whack and give a dog a bone, but he's a poor man's Jack Watts. Now, look, I just think a guy that big, I'll put it this way. If Shane Mumford, all he did was win ruck tap outs, they'd pick on him for not doing enough around the ground. But apparently this guy can. He just has to win ruck tap outs and doesn't have to get positions, doesn't have to take marks, doesn't have to do anything else. Oh, he tackles. Big whoop. Other ruckman tackle as well.
Yeah.
It just craps me, mate. It just annoys me that they blow that much pooper out of his butt. Hey, quick questions coming in from one of our viewers. Porter going along at the moment very, very nicely. Marshall gets pulled out at the last moment. Georgiades comes in, slots 4. You've now got to make a choice. Who's it going to be? You're going to go with the Marsh or you're going to go with the Greek freak Georgiades? It's up to you, my friend. Selection panel. Jamie Wallace, who are you going with?
Yes, thank you for your question, Craig Jones. I did watch your power reports over the weekend. Very, very good. It's good to see you got your normal seats back, which is fantastic.
Was that H division or?
No, behind the goals.
Oh.
Second tier, I think.
Oh, wow, that's fancy.
Craig Jones, I've got 3 words for you. Told you so. I said that Georgiades is going to have the breakout year. I said this. I said that already. Georgiades every day for mine over Todd Marshall. I'm sorry, but he just excites me more. And on the weekend, he took his chance and he went with it. And I think it'll be hard for Todd Marshall to get back into the squad.
Well, why not go hard and soft tacos, Jamie? Why not have both?
Have Todd Marshall, Georgiades, and Dixon.
Yeah, why not?
3 talls over.
Why not?
All over 195 centimetres? I don't think so.
Hey, West Coast are doing it with Darling, Kennedy, and Oscar Allen at the moment. Why can't Port do it? Are you saying that the top tier of Port is not good enough as the West Coast mob? Are you doubting your team?
No, I'm telling you one word. Orazio. Where does he go? Where does he go?
He runs through their legs. And Laddams, mate, you're oozing talent. Hey, what's it like when the air's? Tell us what the air's like being up that high on the ladder at the moment. The air must be thin at the top of the ladder.
It is, but Port Adelaide supporters and people who watch football definitely know that Port Adelaide's form is very streaky, and we fall as hard as we rise.
Oh, that's okay. We're going to get into Port a little bit more as well too. But yeah, I reckon that taking it back a step, I do think that game between the Dogs and the Eagles is an absolute belter, and we just hope we see more of it like that under the deck.
Yeah.
Under the dome at Marvel Stadium. The superstars, the Super Marvel superstars were running around and just turning it on. It was beautiful to watch.
And game changer.
Absolutely.
Both subs not used.
Ooh. Is that the first quiz question? Do you know that there's been 20 players so far this season that have played a game yet not registered a stat? Because of all these people sitting on the bench and not doing anything.
Yep. Well, Johannesson was the Western Bulldogs substitute, and Kalamachi was the West Coast.
Oh, so they both get match payments and credited with the game.
Sorry, the Port Adelaide ex-player.
That's a farce, mate. Get rid of it. Just either make 5 on the bench or you don't get...
I know. That's last week's show, though, Pips.
I know. It pops up every single week. Hey, here's one for you, my friend.
Okay.
Is 2021 the new 2020? You probably have no idea what I'm talking about right now.
No, I'm guessing there's something to do with a little virus floating around.
Oh, a little bit of a virus floating around. Yes, there is. So, Brisbane are now going the complete opposite of what happened to the Melbourne teams by having to be stuck down in Melbourne. Looks like for potentially 2 weeks due to the COVID breakout. The breakout in Queensland/Brisbane. And the funny thing is, or not funny thing is that they packed for a weekend, came down and been stuck for 2 weeks. They've had to try and organise clothes, shoes, socks, jocks, all that sort of stuff because people haven't packed.
Smash Kmart, fellas. Belmont 24-hour Kmart. Smash that.
Whereabouts?
Belmont.
Beautiful. Is that where you hang out?
No.
Okay. No. But how would you be? So I'll see you on Sunday, Dale. In 2 weeks' time, if that happened to any of us, the marriages will be over. See you later,
Peps. That's how I pack when I go to Bali.
Yeah, but you go to Bali, but you go with your family.
Yeah, pair of jocks, socks, thongs, pair of shorts, and that's it. I go shopping over there.
Well, it's
support the locals.
Well, it's $5 and a sun hat gets you 2 weeks accommodation and virtually all the food you can eat. So it's not exactly rip it, but.
All I'm saying is Brisbane, get over it. Brisbane, move on. Get over yourselves.
Oh, we had to live with it. Yeah, exactly right.
Live with it, yes.
We had had to live with it. We had to live with it. And you know what? You stuffed up your chance of winning a flag last year, and so be it.
It was good, Peps, wasn't it? All the Brisbane supporters and all those people that come down there had to leave the ground. It was all just all Geelong home ground, which it always is anyway.
What about Hodgie and the Duck got kicked out during the broadcast for COVID safety?
There was some.
Geez, how good was the commentary after Hodgie left? Look, I wouldn't say it to his face because I'd be packing darkies, but I'll be frank, Hodgie, gun footballer.
Yeah.
Captain obvious when it comes to the commentary. It's just, tell us what you think, listeners. Is that obvious that Hodgie is Captain Obvious? Leave a note on the our Facebook page. Alrighty. How buddy good was it?
It was.
It was, wasn't it?
It was good.
After 581 days, Boudoir back on the SCG, and he kicks his three. He's still launching them from 65 meters or the centre half back area at the SCG.
Mm-hmm.
He looks fit. He's pumped. He's excited. You know what the great thing is though? How good does he look in that forward line? They have just got a forward line that is full attack mode. Sydney Swans attack mode. We would never have said that for a long, long time.
Agree.
Oh, it's sexy, isn't it? How sexy is it?
Well, what have they got now? They've got 2 scores over 110 points each of them. Does that sound about right? Yeah, 2 scores over 120 in a row.
That's when was the last time that happened?
No, exactly. I cannot.
Probably Kappa days with the Wiz. I think that was with the Wiz when last time that happened. But they're just how good's Errol? Oh, Errol.
Peps.
Yep. Yeah, mate.
Did Buddy get called for play on because he's running off the line of the ball?
Nah, of course not. Because it's Buddy.
Okay.
I think the umpire was a bit starstruck. Listen, he should. It's got to be called. It has to be called. It has to be called. And it's happened a number of times. You just got to call it. You can't have this stand and let them do that sort of thing. I'm sorry. There were times when players are running past on the weekend. I don't know if you saw this. They literally ran past a meter and a half away from the guy who was on the mark, and the guy had to stand there and watch him run past.
Mm.
That's not a good sight. That's not a good sight. I still think if you're in your own 50, you can go side to side and go back and forth. I still think you should be able to do that.
It's opened the game up, Peps. You know that.
Oh, mate. Listen, I'm having my second course of humble pie because the game is sexy right now. How good is the game? It is like Joel Michael, one of our favourites on the cast. He's come out and said simply this. Errol Goulden is delicious. He's sensational. You know what's also delicious? The humble pie that I consumed. At the fact that I thought the stand rule was stupid, it has totally opened the game up. It's totally changed the way teams have played. I could pick out one, my team. My goodness gracious. Did you see how good we were on the weekend? Did you see how fast we were? Did you see how kicking the ball? We were just like, woo, woo, woo. We were doing everything. Go D's. I haven't seen that for they're usually so slow they were the way they move the ball. They were quick through the middle. Goodness, we beat St Kilda at their own game. That's how good it is. Stand is delicious. Stand is delicious. Yes. That's tattooed across your forearms, kids. Go down to mum and say, I want to get stand is delicious. Well, on your forearm. Peps, I love it.
One thing I am loving is there is definitely a theme of the return of the power forwards again.
Oh, can we do our 3-2-1s, please?
No,
it's
we
time
can't.
To spin the magnets. I think it's time to spin the magnets.
Okay.
We're going to spin the magnets. All righty. Okay, so first and foremost, should we do yours first? Or you want to do?
No, you do yours because you're very excited by it.
Okay, well, that makes it simply what we need to do is we need to figure out who is getting
3 votes.
3 votes. Rightio. So here's my 3 votes from the weekend. I've already mentioned it a little bit earlier on, but that Swans forward line. Oh my goodness. Is it just sexy? It is just quick. Where do you want to go? We'll start with Heaney. All right then. And then you got Papley. Okay, cool. Then you bring in Logan McDonald, like a guy that North Melbourne passed on. You can sort of understand why. They know that the on-baller is the guaranteed thing. But the Logan Meister, he's exceptional. He just fitted straight into that. Then you've got, oh, Errol. We love a bit of Errol Goulding. And then you've forgot the forgotten one, Boudet Franklin comes in and just tears it up. Like, they're quick. They could score. They're hard to play on. Like, who do you target? Like, Buddy's obviously going to get the big guy, but you're going to have a stack of small backmen now. They are looking sharp. And you've still got people like Kennedy who can still kick their goals. Parker can still kick their goals. And even down back, they're just looking amazing. So when I look at them, they're getting my one vote. And I think I gave them votes last week because it's just un-Sydney-like. Rightio.
Very un-Sydney-like.
Two votes. Now, once again, I know Buzz is on the line here. Buzz, you owe me a Tats ticket from last week. We had a bit of a wager, if you can remember that, J-Dog.
I do remember that.
Yes,
Buzz came through.
Buzzer owes me a Tats ticket, System 23. And one of the reasons why your team, St Kilda, got beaten was because there was a little fella running around in the forward line, Cozzy Pickett, in his 19th game, absolutely tore it up. And he was just delicious. He was fantastic. It was just like every time he was near the ball, you could just go, someone's either going to get tackled or he's going to do something special. And he was just amazing. The 2 goals he kicked, the first one, my goodness, in and under. He was like Louis the Fly dipping and dotting out of a Christmas Day smorgasbord. He was just going everywhere, just slots it in. And then kicks one again, puts it all. Oh, it was magnificent. It was just, Melbourne haven't had an exciting small forward since Flash Davey. And before that, I can't even remember one. So it was just looking sensational. I'm just loving the guy.
Roden was your last.
No, David Roden. No, it wasn't David Roden.
It was David Roden, Peps. You were so excited when you got him across. You were so excited.
They were the days before the podcast. Don't go back to the dark days. All right. But yeah, he was absolutely sensational. Kicked 2 goals. I'm just looking forward. If he's going to do that after 19 games, give him another 50. What's he going to be like? Like, I can't wait for that. And I have to say my 3 votes simply goes to, I think, the guy that you gave it to last week. It was Tex Walker. Like, how is a guy last year was virtually in his last season, has changed the complete way. He's looking fitter. He's looking awesome. He's looking amazing. And he's slotting goals. What was it, 6 on the weekend?
6.
To go with the 5 in the first week? My goodness gracious. I don't know. I'm going to have to check it in a moment what he kicked for the season last year, but it wouldn't have been 20, I don't think.
No, I think
the game just suits him, mate. I reckon you're right, mate. The power forwards are back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous. So I have to put it simply that way, that
3 votes
goes to you, Tex Walker. I reckon he could be leading the votes. I reckon he's on 6 votes out of 2 games at the moment.
Probably
he's looking amazing. All right, J-Dog, throw them my way. What about yours?
All right. So am I going 1, 2, 3 or am I going 3, 2, 1?
No, you got to go 1, 2, 3 because that's how it works on the Brownlow. One vote.
So my 1 vote this week, I'm with you, but in reverse. It's the forwards. I'm loving it. Charlie, Tex, Buddy. We've got this forward line of Sydney, which I'm loving. Tom Hawkins is playing terrible, and I'm loving that. But yeah, for me, I'm just all about the forwards as my number 1 vote. I am loving that. I'm loving the fact that the forwards now are leading up the center and they're marking on their chest or hands out front. I'm loving that. Then defenders get the F out of the way. There's a knee coming into the back of your head. I'm loving it.
Oh, I'm loving it.
The 45 kick from the wing. The 45 kick from the wing into the center. Oh, I'm loving that when Charlie's jukes up, knee out, someone's head's going to get caved in from behind.
It's just, like when you watch like the Colour Run and people get hit with the Colour Run pops and they go pop. That's going to be somebody's head when Charlie runs into it.
I'm loving seeing backmen buckled over when a forward's gone through them. It's something about that I love.
You know what? It's even better when you do it. And it's even better when you don't take the mark and they have to get up for the free kick for the unrealistic attempt.
Yeah.
But you've put your knee through the middle of their 2 scapulars and their C4 and C5 have deep bruising and they can't get up and they've got no wind.
Something about
and you're standing on the mark just like, yep, okay, get up.
It makes my loins hard.
Lakes your loins hard. Lakes your loins hard.
It does. It does. Number 2 for me, my 2 vote is Cozzy Pickett. Not 1 time, not 2 times, not 3 times, but 4 times in an effort in the forward 50. He tackles, he chases, he gets the ball, he puts a handball out, he'll smother a ball. I am loving the work that he's doing. He is all over that forward line, that forward 50.
Oh.
That ball hits the ground, look out, because it's coming from somewhere. You're going to get tackled, you're going to get smothered, you're going to get hit somewhere. There's going to be...
And he wants to hurt people too.
And I'm loving the fact that he's running through the bouncers in that forward 50 at full tilt and grabbing them out of the middle. I'm loving it.
He hit you like a cannonball.
Cozzy Pickett has me excited. That's the only reason I'm watching Melbourne. That's the only reason. I'm sorry, Pets, but he is the one that is making me excited about your team the most.
I'd say Clayton Oliver. He was special.
Clayton Oliver's a dickhead. Love you, Clayton.
Me too. All right, now listen. What's your 3 vote? What's your
3 votes?
All right, number 3. I cannot go without saying this, but Blitzers, you deserve a nomination for an award. You have somehow gone out to the media, kept your face straight, and said that you felt like you didn't have prior to that tackle. I mean, come on, Blitz, come on.
Blitzy.
At least admit it when you've been caught. The game's done. It's in the books. At least admit it that you probably should have been caught, mate. That was done.
Blitzy. Oh, what a putz.
Oh, he was done like a dinner, but it's not his fault. You only play by the whistle, Peps.
He didn't have prior opportunity. Have a look at it. He leant into it and then turned his back to the contest and got caught.
And then just dropped it. Literally just went straight out the top.
So this is the thing, right? I had a golf weekend with the boys. 10 of us went down to Torquay on the weekend to play a bit of golf. Cracking weekend. We were in the pub when that happened. And you should have seen a pub full of underage kids on breezes go nuts for when that occurred. It was with like the cheer, and it was like, no, it was like they just lost their pocket money has been done in their multi for the weekend.
Yeah,
it was mate, it went nuts. It's got to be and then they did the stupid thing by playing the replay.
Mm-hmm.
At the replay, you know how the replay is because they slow it down makes everything worse.
Yeah.
It made it look a lot worse, but it was shock. It was the worst decision. That was the worst decision I've seen in a long time because it was so blatantly obvious. And the fact that, look, you can't say one decision costs them a game.
Yeah.
That cost them a game because that was legit. And then for the AFL to come out the next day and say, yeah, they actually did get that one wrong.
Yeah.
Made it even worse for the Brisbane supporters because it would have been nothing better than seeing Geelong 0-2.
Yeah. And now we know.
And finding out what other excuse Chris Scott would have come up with for their performance.
And now we know, we know that teams go 0-2 at the start of the year. I think like 5 out of the last 56 times that's occurred, they've got made finals, but out of the last 57 times, only 5 teams have done that. So
8% chance of making finals, mate.
Yeah. So it's a really costly one. And I feel for Brisbane, but Blitzers for that absolute stellar acting performance to the media. Top gong to you.
He's going to be Dan Andrews' media advisor next, I reckon.
That was perfect. All right, so it's time for me to spin the magnets and drag.
Oh, before we go do that, we're going to play it first. Hold on. Here comes Ron.
Bloody weak as piss.
Bloody weak as piss.
Bloody weak as piss. All right, how's your bloody weak as piss?
You go, Peps.
Tell me if you love it. All right, I've got a couple. I've got a couple here. It's no 3-2-1s because we don't really want to vote 3-2-1s, but my first one that I wanted to raise, and you did it, was the Nuffy umpire that missed that blatant throw. Like, I know one of the guys has just said on the chat that it's hard to get a free kick down there. Well, it's not that hard to put the whistle in your mouth and go free kick. Like, it was that obvious. If it was down the other end of the ground, you would have paid it. Just say that there's no Geelong bias down at GMHBA. And the other one, I'll bring this one up. I know you were, but I'm gonna cut your lunch. Ben Rutten. Here's an idea, mate. Your team is crap. maybe get in the coach's box and do some coaching from up there. Because when you're sitting on the bench and looking like you got no idea, you're not going to hide. Get in the box and swing the magnets a bit because your team's woeful at the moment. I know you've got a lot of injuries. Okay, so does every other team in certain, there's other teams out there, but they're having a crack. And at the moment, it doesn't look like your mob are. And they promise so much again. And is it going to be another year of wilderness work for the Essendon Bombers? I think it will be. I said this last year. I did mention there were rumblings about Mr. Rutten.
Yes, you were. You did
remember?
Come out
yes,
and say that.
I did say that, and everybody laughed at me. Well, laughing at you 0 and 2 because potentially, if I put you, Carlton, and North Melbourne up against each other, at least North Melbourne didn't come out and say that we're finals contenders, we're going to be playing my way, etc., and so forth. They're bad. We know that they're bad. But between you and Carlton, jeez, you love talking yourselves up so much. You just don't deliver. We might have to call you Australia Post because you never deliver on time. All right.
Or Fastway Couriers. They're terrible.
Fast. Oh, well.
Jesus.
Well, they're supposed to be playing Fastway football, but they're not doing that either.
No.
Who's yours, mate? Who's yours? Why did it sit? I'll play it again.
Haley off, Ellingworth on. Bloody weak as piss.
A soundbite. We need to make that into a T-shirt. Hey, listeners, just let us know if we made a Ron Barassi shirt which said, Healy off, Ellingworth on. As weak as piss. If we made a T-shirt of that, would you buy one? Let us know in the chat. Let us know on our Facebook page. J-Dog.
All right. So going on the same theme as coaches, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Teagues. I'm sick of Teagues coming out after a Carlton loss and talking absolute shite. I'm sick of it. I'm over him talking about the processes. I'm over him talking about where the game may have gone down and da-da-da-da-da. Say it how it really is, champ. Just come out and tell us where Carlton are, what's not going right, and just get to the bottom. Get a bit emotional. Get a bit angry.
Hold on. Did you say get to the bottom? Mate, they're already there. So he's got that part worked out.
I'm just sick of every season Peps are coming in with this new hope. This is the season where they're supposed to be playing in the top 8. This is the cracking the 8 year. And they are looking no more advanced than last year and no more advanced than the year before. And then under the Malthouse era and all that process about how they're a top 4 team. We haven't moved in 12 years.
Oh, mate, they're dropping in now. We've got WAP, Gary Rowan.
Yep.
We've got St. Vincent to Carlton. Good work, Cole. I like that one. They're coming. Apparently they're coming. Can you smell what they're coming? Someone I think's left the gas on.
They're it's 12 years now of just all these coaches coming in and just talking absolute shit. I'm over it, Peps. I'm over this Carlton renewed hope. I'm sure their supporters are completely over it as well. I've got no doubt. There's been no improvement. This kid, the green shoots. I mean, we could just roll off the last 6 years of the Carlton things.
They keep what are they fertilizing them with? Cyanide? They're shocking.
Name me a team that has had a rebuild for 20 years. This has had 20-year rebuild on this list. Or not really. Pretty close to it, actually. At least 10-year rebuild.
Well, since Malthouse was there. They are shocking. They are shocking. And they did promise so much. And I look at them and I look at Sard, I look at... Something just doesn't click right there. Like you can't look at that mob and look at that list and say that they are, 15th at the moment? Sorry, 17th on the ladder. Actually, let's throw the ladder up because I think it's a good time to have a bit of a check at this. All right. So let's have a look at this beautiful ladder, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what do we got here? All right, so we have got the round 2 ladder. Port Adelaide on top. You've got Richmond and Sydney and Melbourne, the undefeated teams. My goodness gracious, if you said Melbourne was undefeated after 2 weeks, I'd be laughing at you. Western Bulldogs are there as well. Cracking game on the weekend. The Gold Coast Suns, West Coast and Fremantle making up the top 8 at the moment. Collingwood is next. St Kilda, Geelong, Adelaide, Hawthorn. And this is where the danger starts to appear. You've then got the Brisbane Lions on 0. Carlton in 15th on 0. GWS on 0, Essendon on 0, and North Melbourne, my goodness gracious, they're not just on 0, they're on 48.4%. Now, I think when Melbourne first were under, when Roos first got to the club, they won 2 games and had a percentage of about 50.
Yeah, 51 around for you guys.
Oh, they don't make it better than it was, mate. But that's 48 at the moment. And they don't look like getting anything above that. So that is going to be a massive disappointment if that goes through as is. I'm really, I don't know, 15th, but they don't even look that.
Yeah. At
the moment. One thing I'll quickly go on to, I know it's happening this week and we'll get back on the men's game, but the women's qualifying finals, the AFLW. Hey, we mentioned this a number of times, I think in the first couple of episodes, but the quality of the AFLW football this year has far exceeded the previous ones as well too. You can see that talent program, that talent pathway coming through. And it's all going to kick off this weekend. Casey Fields 105, Melbourne versus Fremantle. They just had a cracker on the weekend and they're going to be playing again. So that is awesome to see. And the Kangaroos and Collingwood at 3:10 at Victoria Park, both on Saturday the 3rd of April. So we'll have the results from that next week. Who would we go with if you had to pick 2 winners at the moment, just by looking at those teams and what you've been analysing over the season, Jamie?
Yep, I would go Melbourne for the win, and I would I take Collingwood for the win, actually.
Yeah, I think I might go with your battle note as well too. So Melbourne and Collingwood for the wins. Yes, I know we're only 2 rounds in, Buzz, but you've listened. You got to get excited. The excitement happens early in the season.
Look, I know Buzz said to us that we are hard on the Blues, but I mean, facts are facts. They've had 11 first-round draft picks since the rebuild in 2015 in that list. So we're now talking 6 years down that path. Like it's been enough, and they've added Sard, they've added Williams, they've gone out there, recruited, they've done all of that. They've got rid of Brendan Bolton, they've brought in Teagues, they've got rid of Salvani after a falling out with players. With people in the football department and the CEO. They've done a lot, and they just have not got it right. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. That's all. That's all for me. That's a rant. I know it's almost been down the fry pan path there, Pep. So I'm just a little bit over it.
I'll tell you what, it's sizzling in the background here. I couldn't turn him on if you like. Been waiting to make an appearance this year. Hey, now last week we had a listener question.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, did you want to bring that one up and go through some of the responses? Because there are some cracking responses. And obviously, what's the question going to be for this week?
Absolutely. So the listener question from last week was, who is your favourite player of all time and why? Now, there are a lot of good answers to this, but there's also a terrible one that someone chucked in there. Anyway, so first off, we'll start from the top and we'll go read through them. Heath Buxton has come out and said, easy, Sam Mitchell, GOAT.
Bucko.
It's one of Brownlow.
With an asterisk next to it.
Hey, Brownlow Peps. Oh. You and I wouldn't even get close to the red carpet. He's got the thing hanging around his neck.
Move on.
Okay. Josh Weymouth, which is our Flaming Josh for those.
Flaming Josh.
He's been around for ages now.
Josh. Yep.
Matthew Scarlett, and once again, classic Cats player, classic lockdown player, a classic Geelong dominant era player, and I cannot disagree with that. He is a bloody awesome player. He was an awesome player.
Didn't play on anyone.
Yep. Buzz, Trev Baker. Played for virtually
Trevor Barker.
Sorry, Barker.
Trevor Baker. Leave the old answers for the old guys. Trevor Barker, my goodness.
Played virtually for nothing.
Oh, he played for nothing. He wore the number 1. He had the best hair. He was an absolute sex symbol for the Saints. Mm-hmm. And besides Robbie Flower, he was my other hero as well too, Trevor Barker. He was an absolute gun.
Okay, well, that's who. Once again, it's probably more your age than my age, and I guess you'll have to just leave it there.
Hey, can I just say something though? Like, sure. We love our listeners and we love everybody who comes on board as part of this show.
Mm-hmm.
One of our loyal followers and listeners from last year, Lee Mack. Lee Mack has just dropped, I'd get close to the red carpet. Speak for yourselves. Now we don't drop names on this podcast because we don't want to make us sound better than we are. But he is the serial name dropper. Like Lee Mack, and we know that you've been to about 14 different Brownlows, 13 different grand finals, everything under the sun, and I'm still waiting for our invite. We need to make a night of it. You, me, and J-Dog out at the Brownlow this year. If you can make that work, that would be amazing. We're looking forward to seeing how that one turns out.
Next we got the boys from. Sorry, Peps. We got to keep this schedule.
No, let's keep going.
The boys from the Purple Rain, the Freo podcast. Jeff Farmer. 3 words. You know why. I love it.
Yeah, I just love Clive Waterhouse.
Yes, we have got Leroy Skinner who's come out and said, easy, Clive Slaughterhouse.
Yes, a slaughter. How do you love Clive Waterhouse? What a gun.
Oh, absolute quintessential Freo person.
How many others? There's got to be some good ones as well too.
Yeah, we've got Dave Salt has come out and he said, Mr. Wayne Harms.
Oh, Harmsy.
As it was a good mark, overhead chest kick, either side, fast enough and harder than a Pentridge sledgehammer.
And doesn't mind bringing balls in from 3 rows back at the MCG on grand final day against Collingwood.
Hey, that is folklore, Peps.
He was faster than the kick. We've
got Daniel Benjamin O'Royden and said the legend Tony Lockett. Hard to disagree.
You can't, mate. I wouldn't disagree. Would you disagree to Plugger?
We love Lockett.
Plugger listens to this podcast.
We like Lockett version 2, not version 3. When he came back, not good.
Nah.
But Sydney Swans, version 2, excellent. Yes.
And version 3 looks amazing. Did you see him at the Danny Frawley game? And by the way, everybody who contributed to that, congratulations. Well done for a good cause. Hopefully that can be full round next year. What else?
Yep.
Got any more? Got any other ones there, Jamie?
Yeah, got another one. Yep. Ryan Noonan has come out and said Chris Grant, Carey, Ablett Senior, can't split them. All legend 90s players and coming into the early thousands. So can't disagree with that.
Oh, yeah.
And Craig Gambetta has said Paul Kelly, Sydney, when he's in Sydney.
True, gun.
Wayne Edwards, AJ Witten could play at any position, wet or dry. Hard to disagree.
That's a hole. Can't say I didn't see him live, so I'm taking your word for it on that one.
We've got Joel. He's come out and said, John Marks come out and said, Jeff Farmer, excitement machine. And that's all we have, Peps.
You sure? Because I thought there was one more on that list.
I don't see.
I think there was one from a certain Lee Moss on that list.
Okay, yeah, we've got one. Don't know this player's name. Christopher Pepper. Don't know who Christopher Pepper is.
Christopher Pepper.
Oh, Christopher Pepper. Sorry.
Yep. What did he say about me?
Great left foot for goal. Could have been anything for injury. Now, I'm sure there's a photo kicking around where your leg is pointing one way and the ball is going the complete opposite. You've just spazzed it off the side, off your left foot. And I think it was for goal, wasn't it?
There's not a photo, but there's me trying to pick up the ball and I'm like, there's that one, if I can find it. Yeah. I'll put that one up on the side if I can find it. That's
look, obviously Lee Moss should be expecting a check in the mail anytime soon for that comment.
He's a loyal listener of Lace Out, loves the podcast, and he's true. I did have a great left foot. I had a great eye for goal, and I'm not going to lie, I could turn it on when I wanted to. Great
eye for goal with the ball going over your head.
It was a bit hard to turn it on when I sat on the bench for quite a fair bit during my senior career. I think they were just intimidated. All righty. Okay. So, listener question for this week. What's the listener question? So, great response to everybody who dropped in. Once again, jump onto the Facebook page or our Twitter page. What's your answer to this week's listener question, J-Dog?
I'll go through it in a second. But first, who was your favourite player of all time in Y-Peps?
Oh, Robbie Flower.
Robbie Flower for you?
Oh, just when he dominated the MCG wing. He wore the long sleeves. He was just, a guy. He was doing things that someone that size, 70 kilos wringing wet shouldn't do. He was just, He was grace. He was class. He played the game as it should have been. He didn't get into the rough stuff. He just, if you speak to a lot of players from a lot of clubs who played in that time, there was just admiration for him. And, you don't play 274 games in a team that predominantly wasn't any good. Yeah.
All right. So for me, Peps, my all-time favourite player, I think you know who we're going to go with here. It's Treadray for me.
Yeah.
I remember his first game kicking 8 against Carlton down there at Optus Oval. Or
He kicked 8 in his first game, did he?
He did.
Oh,
did his knee in the third quarter. That guy could have been anything. Just unfortunately, his knees let him down. No, premiership captain, all those sorts of things. Absolutely idolise Warren Treadray coming off the half forward line, and would give my left nut to have him on the show.
Oh, I thought you were going to give your left nut to have him on the show. Yeah. Hey, if anybody knows Warren Treadray, let's get him on the show. I'd love Jamie to get rid of one of his nuts.
Oh, dear.
Because he's only got one left because his wife, Alira's got the other one in her handbag. All right. So what are we going to finish up with? Is everybody else? Have we got anything else to finish up with?
Yeah, listen to question this week, Peps.
Yep. What is it?
Okay, listen to question this week, and I'll be putting it onto the Facebook site as usual. So put your responses in there. Listener question is, what is your all-time favourite food combo at the footy?
Oh, okay.
So, simple one. I do love a food question, and I do like asking you food questions from our podcast earlier on when we were first together.
Yes. Now, quick question with this, though. Yes. Is it stuff that you have to buy at the footy, or can you bring your own in? I think you should be allowed to bring your own in.
Yeah, all right. We are playing for the families at home as well, Pess. We've got a lot of family men on our list here, and women, so let's just go with that.
And what about for the people like Lee Mack who are always in corporate boxes? Does that count as well?
Well, Lee Mack can put his response, but everyone knows that that's unobtainable for the layman.
For the common
and
for
woman.
the common folk, folk, or common person, full stop. Because we're gender neutral on this podcast.
And then Lee Mack's probably going to tag in all these people on Facebook. You're going to at everyone.
Yeah, and then we'll bring the dustpan and brooms to pick up all the names he's dropped.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, go for it.
Quickly just address some of these things here for you, or for me, actually. Benny JJ from Radelaide has said, waiting for you to get across here, Jamie. And I cannot agree more. I have not looked at the schedule, but I will be looking at the schedule to see what games I can for this season.
All right,
so we'll be getting over there. And I've got to catch up with Craig and the boys from the Portress. I've got to catch up with Benny. There's a few over there I've got to catch up with.
I've got to catch up with the guys from the Purple Rain. I've got the Sydney guys. I've got the Perth guy. I've got everyone I've got to catch up with. So looking forward to that. Hey, quick question. I know not football related, but I have to do it because I know there are people who want to find out. We're just going to switch off Lace Out for 2 secs and put on our sister podcast, Burnout, which is our Formula One recap. J-Dog, Formula One recap, 25 words or less.
Sure. Season underway. Daniel Ricciardo came 7th, Lando Norris 4th, and we're finally seeing a battle for the F1 supremacy with Mercedes struggling so far.
Sensational. Back to Lace Out. That was Burnout. That's how you want your F1. Hey, listeners, that's it. What an absolutely cracking round of football. It's all going to be kicking off again this week. Another Thursday night game, I think, this week, J-Dog. Is that right?
Another Thursday night game this week, Peps. You're absolutely correct. We've seen lots of Thursday night games this year so far.
I like the Thursday night game. It's fantastic. So that means that Tipped Out will be back with our tips. And by the way, everybody who's listening to Tipped Out, good to see I didn't even pick my own team on the weekend, and it worked out. So I'll probably do that again. But everybody who's been tuning in on all your different platforms, thank you very much. Everybody who tunes in live every Tuesday, thank you very much. Thank you, Jamie, once again for tuning in to being the co-host with the most. But more importantly, I've got to ask you the question. It's simply this, J-Dog. How do you want your 2021 football?
I like it lace out. But before we go, Peps.
Oh, yes.
We want to wish all our listeners a very happy Easter. Hope you get smashed into the chocolates, the beers, the 4 days off. I hope you enjoy it all. And we will see you on Tuesday.
And Easter Monday footy too. That's going to be a belter as well. It always is a good game. I reckon the Hawks might pinch one against the Cats this week. I'm a little bit excited for that. And potentially I might be taking my daughter to the Buddy versus Dusty game.
Oh, lovely.
So hopefully we might see a few of there too. If you see us walking around, give us a tap on the shoulder. Tell us that you like Lace Out. But it's been another great episode with another great co-host and a great audience. All the best, listeners. Hope your team wins.
See you, everyone.